All right, Madeline, thank you so much for that report. And I do want to dig just a little bit deeper into all of this here. Jamil Jaffer is the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute at the Scalia Law School at George Mason University, joining us now live to discuss. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, so first off, I do have to ask you about the situation overall. What do we know and what is kind of still left to figure out?
Well, I think there's a lot left to figure out. What we know right now is that Chinese government-affiliated hackers with a group that is called Typhoon have gotten into American telecommunications systems and potentially into American presidential campaigns as well. This is an effort focused primarily on counterintelligence efforts, that is, efforts to identify what we're doing against them and potentially to undermine our capabilities as well. And so we know they've gotten deep into telecommunications companies, the major ones in the US. And so the concern is, have they gotten access to some of our lawful access systems, the systems we use to identify criminals and potentially national security threats as well?
And the issue is, when you think about it, we talk a lot about Iran, Russia, but China is involved in this as well.
That's exactly right. I mean, look, China and Russia, along with the United States, are amongst some of the world's most sophisticated collectors of signals intelligence. That's communications from emails, from phones, from online messaging, and the like. And so they're voracious collectors. They've stolen trillions of dollars worth of American intellectual property hysterically from companies, use them to undergird the Chinese economy. But they've also been engaged in classic national security hacking and theft as well. And that's what we're looking at here. They may also potentially use the information from presidential campaigns, as the Iranians have, to undermine the election campaigns and to undermine confidence in the vote. We see that happening already with the Iranians. We may see more of that, and the Russians. We may see more of that with the Chinese as well.
What can you tell me about Typhoon? Again, the name does catch a lot of people's attention, where the name came from, but also really who they are.
Sure. Well, the name was given by Microsoft by a group of threat detection experts who identify hacking groups, whether they're Russian, Chinese, Iranian, North Korean. We've seen CrowdStrike do the same as well, provide certain names. The Typhoon naming convention is used to indicate that it's a Chinese group. They use Sandstorm for Russian groups, Blizzard for, Sandstorm for Iranian groups, Blizzard for Russian groups. And so Typhoon is the general name given to Chinese hacking of a certain variety. And then Salt and Volt is another one. Volt Typhoon we heard about 6 months ago. They were focused on Guam and other American targets in the Indo-Pacific, as well as expanding to other organizations here in the U.S. and abroad. So now we've seen Salt Typhoon, which is, again, focused primarily on these U.S. telecommunications systems and the presidential campaigns. It's another variant, potentially Chinese MSS, Ministry of State Security, or Chinese military hackers associated with the PLA.
Do Americans need to be overly concerned about this right now? Because they hear about hackers. Again, we've talked about Iran, Russia, now China here. Do Americans need to be concerned overall?
Well, look, I think these nation-state hacks, Russia, China, Iran, are more problematic than the day-to-day hacks. We hear about people breaching, getting data from various providers, our cell phone numbers, our email addresses, our social security numbers, our dates of birth. Those are obviously hugely problematic for an individual consumer. But at a nation-state level, when you're stealing secrets, when you're stealing information that you can combine with other data you're collecting elsewhere, you think about the Chinese hacking operation, again, billions a year in intellectual property, trillions in total. But then you add that to all the information they're collecting on TikTok, the information they're collecting through these surveillance methods, and you combine them all, run AI over it. Now you've got a very detailed picture of the American population and potentially the ability to target people who have access to classified information and the like. And that's what's really concerning about these larger scale efforts by the Chinese.
And, of course, the possible interference in the presidential election. But I imagine you have all these different groups, folks out there who are working to prevent places like Iran, China, and Russia from being able to interfere in the election overall.
No, that's exactly right, Josh. There's the government stood up a unified coordination group we hear from reporting in the newspaper to address threats, both specifically from Salt Typhoon, but also the broader effort to hack and communicate misinformation and disinformation in this election cycle. The challenge, of course, is there are witting Americans who are helping with the disinformation process. We saw at least one Democratic activist take information from Iranian hackers and put out information for the Trump campaign. We've seen conservative activists take money from Russian hackers and then use unwitting media actors to put media information to the media as well. So we're seeing witting Americans involved in helping the disinformation and misinformation. And on top of that, You have unwitting Americans who are on Facebook, Twitter, X, or the like, and are getting messaging not knowing it's not their friends or not their American allies. It's actually Russians, Chinese, and Iranians trying to undermine confidence in our elections.
Don't trust anything on social media until you double check it. That's what I take away from that. Jamil Jaffer, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, I think, Josh, the main thing is, look, Americans need to be aware that we have nation states that are coming after us today on social media, in the public eye, and behind closed doors, trying to hack into our systems. So as we're thinking about what's going forward with the elections, we need to make sure that we're all focused on the fact that, look, the adversary is outside, not inside, and we need to make sure we're concentrating on that fact and avoiding this misinformation, and protecting our information and being cyber secure as well.
All right. Jamil Jaffer, thank you again for being here with us today and breaking it all down. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Josh.